Welcome. This is Suzanne.
Lauri,
Susan,
Roxie.
And
we are
Three Old Broads and a Lady.
Today we're going to talk about summer vacations. Back in the day, just seems to be a favorite theme of ours, we'd get out of school and have a whole few months, 3 months of activities that we got to pick for ourselves. And what are some of the things we remember from that? Was it fun or was it boring? Was it, did you go and get a summer job? Did you do different things? That you'd get up in the morning and say, I think I'll do this today. Anybody have anything to?
Well, the people next door to us had a pool, and my mother babysat the kids during the day because their parents both worked. So we had access to a pool every single day. But what we would do is get up in the morning, put on our swimsuits, have our breakfast, and then we would sit and play some sort of board game until about noon. And then we would all go over to the pool and splash around all afternoon. It was like a ritual, and we did it all summer long, and it was so wonderful. I had no idea how good it was until I moved away from home and didn't have a pool and nobody to play with board games, and it was just, but I remember those vividly. We would just sit every day and play Michigan Rummy or something like that, and then go to the pool.
So Roxie, I did sort of the same thing. They had a pool right next door. And we'd go over and play around and board games, a lot of board games. And then we'd swim in the pool. And then we'd pick plums off their plum trees and have snacks later. It was blissful. But we didn't know it at the time. I even thought about that later and thought, wow, those were fun summers. What were your favorite board games?
Well, we used to play Michigan Rummy mostly. And gosh, what else? I don't remember. That was the big one because we had this huge sheet we would spread out, and it had all the information on it, and these great big checkers because the backside of it was a checkerboard. And we would use those as, like, I don't know, antes or something like that. Suzanne, what's up?
What the hell is Michigan Rummy? I'm sorry, I've never heard of that.
Oh, it was a card game, and you collected like suits, and if you ended up with the right cards, like all of the hearts, I think, were good cards. So if you had the Jack of Hearts, you got a little ante from that, and if you had the Ten of Hearts, you had that.
It's kind of like the game Tripoli too. Did you ever play Tripoli?
I remember playing that.
Well, we always played Tripoli, and I think that's similar.
It's the same thing, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But anyway, it was just a fun game, and we entertained ourselves for hours and hours.
We used to play lie detector. Did anybody have a lie detector? No. What?
No.
It's called lie detector. And they had 24 suspects, and they all had different pictures.
Oh, with cards?
Yeah, and then you'd stick the card in there, and then you'd punch the punch down, and if he was lying, you could figure it out or something.
Well, the light would come on, or it would go or something.
Yeah, it had a little, little kind of a dialometer,
I'm sure we all grew up in the same area.
You don't play lie detector?
I never, ever played lie detector or ever even heard of it.
In the 60s, it was spy detector because everything was spies. It was pretty much the same game. And then you'd get these clues and it would say, the guy with the high forehead, or she wore glasses, or any of those things. And you'd keep these cards in your hand, and then you could eliminate the suspects as, and then you come up with the answer. And I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, we live close to a park, Laurel Park. And,
Okay.
I mean, just a tiny little park, but they had staff that would come during the summer, and they would teach you how to make lanyards.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did all kinds of coloring and different stuff all the time, crafts and stuff. So I spent most of my time at the park, at Laurel Park. And then from there, we also used to put on shows.
No.
Each park in the vicinity would put on a show up at Whittier Theater. Not the one that's there now, but where they would show before. And that's where I got my love of going to the theater. Because at the age of 5, I played a lady in waiting.
A lady. You played a lady.
I played a lady.
And then later, you became an old broad.
Yes. No. Oh, did you just give something away?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
now we know who the lady is.
I'm so sorry, Suzanne. Well, this is how you played lie detector. I've got a clue here. When I was in college, I used to teach arts and crafts to kids, and you only had a certain amount of time, so you had to teach a very short craft. But it was a lot of fun, and they paid me to do that, so that was really neat.
Yeah, they used to take us to the show too, up to the
Wardman?
or the Roxie, either one. not you.
Not me. I was not.
And we would go see things like the Three Stooges meet,
Yeah.
go into outer space or something like that.
Old
you know?
Yeller.
Yeah.
Oh no!
There was also always a couple of cartoons
Yes.
besides the main feature, and sometimes you should have a double feature where you'd see more than one
Yes.
right, on one ticket. And
That's why when they went to one movie per theater, I started going from one theater to next theater because I felt I was being ripped off.
Yeah. sneaking between
Yeah,
sneaking
sneaking
between
between the two theaters because I'm like, you guys are ripping me off. I used to get 2 movies.
Yeah.
The Wardman and the Roxie were just around the corner from each other, pretty much.
Yeah.
And they were in competition all the time. And I remember when Tom Thumb came out with Rust Hamlet. It's about this big.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I think you
Tom Thumb, yeah.
Tom Thumb is. He would have been really short. It was my thumb.
Yeah.
Never mind. Anyway, well, I went and saw Tom Thumb, and they showed 6 cartoons. Well, I went to the Roxy to see Tom Thumb, and they showed 8 cartoons. You know, so well, I'll raise you a cartoon.
Yeah.
Well, and you get a big old bucket of popcorn and some kind of a soda, and you sit there
Well,
in the air conditioned. Like my house wasn't air conditioned
Mine
back
either.
in those days.
No.
And so they would be so nice to just sit there in the dark and eating your popcorn, watching the movies and the cartoons, and then you go back to your hot old house.
And when the instant you walked out, it's
Oh yeah, your eyes, yeah.
your eyes have to be shut.
Well, that was a big thing, the air conditioning, because I remember they used to have those big signs. We are air cooled.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm going in there.
Ice cold drinks.
Yeah.
And the sign was always blue with white
Yes.
letters, and
Yes.
it was iced
Icicles.
icicles
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
down. Well, I remember going to a movie. This was when I was an adult, but we were sweltering and we didn't have air conditioning. So I said, I'm just going to go to the movies. And my mom says, I guess I was over with her, and she says, what's playing? What are we going to say? I don't care. Let's just drive down there. So we saw New York. Remember that? With
Yeah.
Liza Minnelli. But it was a long movie, and so nice and cool. And then we had to get out and come home.
Yeah, that's where the reason why I went to go see Raiders of the Lost Ark, which I would have not gone to see because it wasn't something that I'm like, okay, whatever. But it was so hot in my apartment that I went to the show to see that. And I was like, oh, God, that was a great movie. I got to see that movie again.
I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark at the drive-in movie.
Ooh.
I had maybe it was just my daughter then, but she was asleep in the back of the car, and my husband and I were watching it on the screen, and that's the first time I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark at the old drive-in movie.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I miss the drive-in.
Yeah, I saw Monty Python and the Holy Grail at the drive-in by myself, and was laughing hysterically in the car and thinking, why is there nobody here with me? But yeah, I have actually a funny story about when I was on a date and I went to the theater to the movies with this guy, and we were kind of squeezing into the middle of the aisle. We're walking. And it was the first time we had ever gone out. Okay, so first date. And we walked, and all of a sudden the lady sitting in front turned around and gave her the dirtiest look. And we're like, what in the world? And so we go and we sit down. And I go, what time is it? And he lifts his watch and her hairnet was stuck. So he had ripped it right off her
I say, so had he, very artfitly taken his hand and slowly put it behind around your back and somehow caught the lady's hairnet besides?
Oh my goodness. Or the hairnet had still been hanging to his watch and you'd gotten some creepy thing on the back of your neck.
Yeah, like what is that?
What is that?
Okay, well, going back to the drive-in movies, I remember my boyfriend and I went to the drive-in movies to see Ice Station Zero.
Oh,
Well,
wasn't it Zebra?
Zebra, maybe,
Okay,
yeah.
But it was maybe a knockoff film. I didn't know.
Zebra. Anyway, whatever it was, I never saw the movie because it was so dark. Everything in it, well, that too, but. But the reason why I didn't see it was because it was so dark that you couldn't see anything on the screen. It looked like the screen was blank.
Oh,
You could hear, whatever was going on. And so that got boring really quickly, so we decided to entertain ourselves in a different way.
Yes.
Ah.
A fun one.
I went to the
Without
drive-in
ripping
too.
off somebody's hair.
That's right.
Yeah.
There was no hairnet in the car.
No hairnets were harmed in the production of this movie.
I
That
remember
is
going
correct.
to see THX 1138, playing with 2,000 years BC, 5,000 years BC. The one with
Yeah,
Raquel,
yeah,
the one with
Raquel
one
Welch.
with Raquel Welch.
5,000.
5,000. And it was I don't know, 5 billion now. It's inflation. I don't know anything anymore.
Raquel Welch.
No,
That's the
she was in
important
it.
thing.
That's
Yes.
the important part. But
In
it
the
was
furry bikini.
It was THX 1138 we wanted to see, and I wish I had that time back. No offense to anybody who liked that film. I didn't care much for it. But,
Yeah, that's one of the critics' favorite films.
well, okay. But I remember, Catholic school, right? They go to confession in this movie, and of course that's so they will reveal things that they shouldn't. That the state wanted to know, and so they go in, and there's a stained glass window of Jesus, and Thex, that's our hero, THX. Okay, he goes in and he's saying that he hasn't been taking his drugs and all this, and every time he would say something, kind of like a blanket statement, this voice would say, "Could you be more specific?" And it is, "Could you be?" And he'd said that many times. This voice, and then he gets up to go to leave, and then the camera reveals that there's all these people behind this just stained glass window, typing everything he has, and they were typing because this was 1971 or something, and I always remember that. And when I was teaching school, kids would say something, and I'd say, "Could you be more specific?" And they had no clue as to what I was really talking about. Yeah, there it is, 1 million years BC, and there's Raquel Welch right there on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Anyway, I saw a bunch of films there, double features and stuff. And one time we were kind of sitting there, and I'd been dating this guy for a while, and we're at the drive-in, and then we see some people come. We see some cars moving in, and it's his mom and his dad, and his brother.
Perfect.
Okay, and so we just kind of like ate our snacks and
Yeah.
oh God.
I don't have any romantic escapades from the drive-in. I don't know why. I really feel like I've missed out now. But I do
It's
remember.
not too late.
Well, it
I
might
think
be.
it actually is. I don't know if there's a drive-in.
Well, you'd have to go to a swap meet. It wouldn't be the same
It wouldn't
thing.
be the same. But I do remember as a kid going to the drive-in to see whatever my parents wanted to see. And we would go in our pajamas.
Yeah.
And before it started, you could go out and swing on the swings. And then you would go to the snack bar and get one of those cardboard pizzas and, all kind of stuff. It was a great time at the drive-in. And I used to love to go.
Yeah, I remember doing that. We saw Lady and the Tramp, and what was it? Something about the Strategic Air Command.
Oh.
Because see, my mom talked my dad into going
Oh.
because it's Strategic Air Command, and he was in the Air Force. So oh, let's go. And
But then it was Lady in the
but
Tramp.
then it was, well, we saw Lady and the Tramp first, and then of course, we dozed off during Strategic
Yeah,
Air
that's what I
Command.
was just going to say. They always had like a kids movie first and then an adult movie after
Right.
because the kids always fell asleep.
Right, yeah, and my folks would lay down the back seats of the car so that we could just spread out a blanket and we just curl up and fall asleep. It was great.
I remember seeing it. I saw what you did, and I know who you are at the theater. And I went with Mary Ann Burrell.
Yeah, well,
and her mom, she had told her mom that it was like I don't even remember what the ratings were because they've changed so much, but it was R rated.
oh,
And she told her mom that it was something else, or like PG or something like PG.
parental guidance.
Her mom was so pissed at her. But that movie scared the crap out. I never called. We used to prank call on the phone all the time. That movie stopped me from ever doing that again.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty scary.
So it was sort of a public service kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a
Yeah,
PSA
and Joan
movie.
Crawford was in that movie.
Oh, great.
Well, she's pretty scary anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Did anybody have any other fantastic summer job stories or summer camps you went to?
And I never went to camp, but I went to summer school when I was like in the 7th grade, I guess. And I took the drama class.
Ooh,
It was wonderful. We wrote our own play, and then we brought in our own costumes, and then we performed for anybody who would sit and listen to us. And it was just such a fun experience that I thought, I could do more of this. It was the beginning of the end for me as far as that goes. But
well, I did junior theater.
oh,
I know.
Whittier Junior Theater.
Indeed. And you were in the play that I was my first experience.
What was it?
Alibaba
And the 40 Thieves. That was my first
Yes.
Whittier
Was it
Junior
really?
Theater too. I played Thumia,
Well, I didn't get
Alibaba's wife.
I didn't make the cut on the cast, but I had to do makeup.
Oh,
And of course, we put that dark makeup on.
yeah.
And then one time, one time somebody, I hope it wasn't me because, I tried to be thorough, but at one point, I think it was you, and you raised your hand up, and then we got in the front part of your arm, but the back part of your arm is still very, very white. And it was like, oh, I'm so embarrassed.
oops.
But I don't think it was me. Because I remember that I didn't they didn't trust me, I guess. Because I was like the 5th grader.
You didn't do the principals?
I did, exactly.
The stars.
Exactly. The people they trusted did the principals. And then I did the meaningless rabble that was, bowing and scraping and all that. But yeah, and I thought, boy, I wish I could get into one of these.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was 28, I got
Is that all?
Oh, that's right. When you were in Whittier Junior Theaters, do you remember weren't you Mother Goose or something like that?
Oh yeah, when we did
we did a joint thing
Yeah,
with kids and
I was-
adults, and you were
I
an
was
adult
Mother
by
Goose.
then.
Exactly, we had the kids were in it.
Oh, all the kids were in it.
Yeah,
That was so
and
funny.
they were delightful kids. And
Mhm.
this one kid ate too many nachos during the halftime, and
Little Boy Blue.
Yeah,
or
Little Boy
or
Blue.
Little Boy
Green, yeah.
which is what he became known as.
Yeah, he did it. He's all across the whole upstage area, and people were sliding in it. as they were
That's
walking
one guy
by.
made an entrance.
And you know what? The problem was that he was, I hope nobody who knows him ever hears this, but he was such an obnoxious little guy that nobody in the cast could stand him. So when he's throwing up, nobody is feeling bad about it, And so they're just feeling annoyed. And there's nobody going, oh, poor little, I don't even remember his name, fortunately, but,
Yeah.
oh no, here, it's just like, oh, there he goes again, Now he's...
He told me, because I was Mother Goose,
Mm-hmm.
he told me, I don't feel so good. I said, well, you don't feel so good. Get off the stage. And I kind of shoved him into the
And he
wings.
did.
And then he came back, and then center stage,
He probably had a line he was supposed
Yeah.
to say or something.
and this, I mean, he was such a ham, and nothing was going to stop him from, delivering his lines. And the guy that played the villain I don't know whether she would mention his name.
No, let's not. Let's
Anyway, but he was wonderful as always, and but he said because we were complaining about this kid, right? He says, "Well, I know what's going to get him eventually," and we all go, "Well, what?" He says, "Puberty." And honest to God, about 5 years later, I saw this kid in puberty.
Out of the struck.
Oh yeah, he was a mess, and I went,
Puberty hit him hard.
Sorry. I'm so embarrassed for saying that, but it is funny. So don't let your kids be obnoxious, because things will happen.
Well, but the Whittier Junior Theater program, since we're on that subject, was I went through it as a kid, and then I was the full-time director of the Whittier Junior Theater for a while as an adult, and then my husband became so the Whittier Junior Theater is like ingrained in my soul.
Looms large in your legend.
It does. Well, I don't know about that part, but back in the day when we were kids, they sort of had rules like, you only got to be, especially if you're a girl, you only got to be in like one play a year, and then they expected you to be on the prop crew or the set building crew, or and they really taught you how to do all those things. And now the kids now they won't accept any role except the lead, and if they don't get cast in that, then they move on to another theater and try out someplace else. But the idea of actually putting some, artistic elbow grease into the production, no, that doesn't happen.
Well, and I don't understand that, because the most rounded actors are the ones that know how everything works on the stage.
Yeah.
They know about stage managing, they know about set building, they know about lights, they know about sound. Those are the most rounded actors, in my opinion.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think you're right too. I did a lot of things. I was on the crew of Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
Wizard of Oz.
I didn't get cast in the Wizard of Oz. I didn't even get to be on the crew. But my brother got cast because he was a boy, so he got to be a Winky.
A Winky. Well, my best friend got to be a Pixie,
Oh, there
and
you
then
go.
I wasn't cast at all. And I just said,
Yeah.
"What are you gonna do?"
Yeah.
But you were in it at St. Paul's, weren't you?
I never did a play in St. Paul.
You
It
didn't?
wasn't like I didn't audition.
Well,
but-
I know Mary Ann played the Cowardly Lion.
Yeah, she was great. She was my favorite part. But I struck out on that. I guess I didn't impress the drama guy.
Oh, Mr. Francis?
Well, yeah.
We won't say his first name in case he and his wife listen to this.
Exactly.
They better be listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, but later on, I did some stuff with him. And I was in Rebecca.
Yeah.
And a couple of years later, he's talking to this gigantic cast for the "It's a Wonderful Life" radio show.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
was in that.
I know you were. So I loved your performance. So he said, "Did anybody see Rebecca?" Because he said something about Rebecca, and nobody had seen it, and nobody was in it, but I was in it. So I raised my hand, and he says, "Oh, Lauri, you were in Rebecca?" And I said, "I played your wife."
Well, that was memorable.
Thanks, John. Oh, God, I gave his name away. Okay.
Well.
Sorry, John. Okay.
Shout out to John.
Yeah.
Well, but then as a former teacher, that it's just terrible that when former students always come up and say, "Hey, hi, Miss Boehlert. Don't you remember me?" And they never say what their name is. They always want you to come up with their name, even though it was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
that you had it.
And they don't look like fifth graders
No, they
anymore.
don't. They don't look
No.
like little kids anymore. And I had that experience at the store the other day. There was a guy that was one of the checkers out. He was checking out my groceries, and fortunately, he looked kind of familiar to me, and so I actually made the dude, "Hey, what school did you go to?" And then he goes, yeah, Mrs. Eiden, hi. I've been taking care of you for all this time, and I just never knew if you knew who I was. And it's like, okay,
Oh, God.
You know,
They forget that you have it's high school, you have like 120 students a year. And for 20, 30, 40, 39 years for me, and so when they say, hey, remember I had you in English 1 year, and I used to sit in the second row, and it's like,
well,
Yeah.
Frank
Yeah.
Sinatra had a thing that he did that with that. And they'd say, I've attended your performance at something.
oh yeah.
He says, I remember you. You sat down front on the aisle, and yes, I did. And of course, yeah, sure, he remembers. But he says, you were beautiful, and you still are. He says, it was nice. They liked it.
Yeah. Why
But
did you
still, I mean, it's kind of a BS artist, I guess, but that's a nice thing.
Yeah.
I remember you. Yeah.
I worked in a computer lab up at Rio Hondo College, and we had probably thousands of students going in and out there. And one time I was on Catalina, and this guy walked up to me and he said, "Yeah, that's exactly what he said." No, he said, "I know you. You work at Rio Hondo in the computer lab." And I'm like, "Okay. Was I mean to you? Are you gonna stab me? I mean,
Why do you know me?
why did what happened?" He's all, no, I just remember you. I'm like, oh, thank God.
I'm so bad with names anymore that I call everybody, like, hey, you. Hi, how are you?
Wait, is that why you say that to me?
Yes, I'm afraid so. I'm sorry, Suzanne. That's your name, right?
I have no idea.
I know. So anyway,
Oh, wow.
anyhow, yeah, I admitted I just can't keep names in my head anymore.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry, but you guys used to go to like junior theater and do plays, or to the parks and do plays. At my house, we put on plays at our house.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah,
I never saw any of them, but
Yeah, we used to put them out on our back porch. One year we had the Miss International Beauty Pageant.
Ooh.
And the Miss International Beauty Pageant was all of the neighborhood kids, and each one was assigned like a year or a country that they were from, and they had to research the country, and then they all.
Oh my God! It's
Yeah.
like homework in the
Sounds like
summertime.
school.
Yeah,
Wow.
well,
Gee
the one that won was the little girl who came up and went, "Oh, I forgot my speech," and burst into tears, and so she was the winner.
So
and
she
so
won.
the rest of us who had memorized our thing were all very annoyed by that.
It always works out.
Yeah, it's always the cute little one it's always the one that wins.
Well, I
things.
wrote my first play at the park. The very first play that I ever did, and it was a Man from Uncle play.
Oh, the man
Of
from
course
Uncle.
it was.
Everybody wrote a man from Uncle.
But they did it at the park. They did it when they
Nice.
did their So that was my first
Foray.
into writing. Even though I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, you always think
Still
that's.
don't.
I had a couple of summers I decided to write something. Never made it.
Yeah.
We have a minute to call. Anybody have anything they want to add for a minute?
Well, we wrote scripts at my house too, and then we would go into the big footlocker that my mother had in the garage where she kept old clothes and stuff, and we would get out the old clothes, and we would get the costume, and we would be Mrs. Got a lot of moolah, and her daughter, Pretty Penny, who was in love with poor plain Paul, and we did these whole things. It was crazy.
We did stuff from Mad Magazine.
Oh, well, those were always good too.
And they had a send up of Bonanza. It was called Bananas.
Yes.
And we did that one. And that was really fun. I had a bunch of people on the street. And we just got together and did that. Because everybody had a cowboy hat in an old closet somewhere. I don't know.
So it was swimming and parks and drive-ins
and board games.
and board games and
junior theater.
and junior theater, whether it was at home or away. We were theatrical even then.
Yeah. We just couldn't help ourselves, I guess.
That's right. Yeah.
Some people are just born to it.
Yeah. You know what? By the way, I want to introduce anyone who might be listening to my dog, who has been part of this whole entire podcast today. His name is Milo, and he's a fluffy white dog. And you know what? He just loves to interrupt whenever he can. And today, he has been making lots and lots of extra noises, even though I tried to lock him away where he couldn't do such things. But he seems to have broken loose and being out here. So Milo, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to Three Old Broads, a Lady, and Milo.
And that's our time for today.
I hear the timer.
So, time to
Yeah,
go get
are
those
you going to
friends
talk
out
about
again.
edibles again, or
No. You told me not to, so I'm not to. I gets too
Okay.
bad.
So join us again next time.
Yeah.
And we're not going to tell you what we're going to be talking about because we want it to be a mystery, and also we have no idea.
Because we are three old broads and a lady.